right, it's time for our next speech today, and I think that this is, it's both a no-brainer, because you can't really be successful if you don't have a brand. Number two, a brand is one thing, but if no one knows about you, if no one knows that you exist, how can you be successful as a freelancer, right? I mean, that's why this is the starting point to everything we are really doing here today at this conference. How to successfully market yourself and build your brand on social media. I personally think that in today's world, when we hear about all of these tech companies and layoffs and replacing people within a day, within hours, everyone's shocked. What happened? I suddenly lost everything. I lost my corporate identity. But the point is not to just rely on corporate identity, but build something on your own. It's not super easy. It does take time. I had a chat with our expert today that you'll meet on the stage in a second. And she also told me that it does take months. It does take a lot of persistence. But it's so worth it. Great things take time. Please welcome to the stage Dina Brandt, personal branding on social media, expert strategies and consulting. Go ahead. Hello.
Hello. Thank you so much. Hi, I'm Dina, and I'd like to get to know you a bit better before I start talking. So please let me know, who of you is freelancing for less than 3 years now? Put up your hands. All right. And who's in the game for more than 3 years now? All right, you guys. Who is active on social media already, regularly? And maybe give me a sign, how successful do you think you are in terms of being visible and getting clients? Yeah, this or that? All right, I see. How many talks or keynotes or whatever have you seen on this topic, marketing yourself, social media thing, personal branding? Less than 3 and more than 3? Less than 3? All right, more than 3? I see. All right, so I really hope you can give me feedback on that afterwards. I can shed a bit more light on how I managed to give you a broader picture of why I think that is. Who am I, and why I am talking about this topic today? Well, I'm freelancing for more than 7 years now. And when I started out, I knew absolutely nothing about it. Nothing about freelancing, nothing about marketing myself. I was completely relying on my network. And, well, it didn't work out so great. So I figured that it might be a good thing to figure out how I market myself. Be present on social media, get people to know me. And therefore, I will tell you about that today. Let's start with the dream, actually, the dream we all have, the dream I had when starting out as a freelancer or being self-employed. I wanted to solve problems. I wanted to just do my work. I wanted to be helpful, be creative, be, I don't know, an inspiring force in this universe, and to make money doing what I love. Turned out, that's a bit harder than I actually thought. And I see many freelancers doing this as well, or at least trying to be successful in this very, let me say, chaotic world. And when I talk about making money, most of us actually rely on luck. What I mean by that is that most of us got most of our business relying on our network. So knowing people, like from maybe our corporate history, or friends who recommend us, or clients who recommend us. That's nice. It's great to have a very solid network, but it's not enough, actually. Because sometimes There's too much information out there. There's too much that we have to deal with, and the day that your network stops delivering actually is the day when you have to, well, convince people yourself that they should actually work with you. There comes a time when there's so much information like going around that you really have to condense what you do in a pitch or a short sales story that people get what you're doing like right away in a few seconds, maybe just a sentence or 2 sentences or 3 sentences. And that's a funny thing, because I feel like this is the most important and hardest part about actually like marketing yourself, because it's a fundamental. You have to be able to condense like, who are you, what do you do, who do you solve problems for, who's your target audience, what do you actually do, and like, why should I work with you? And I've had a few conversations yesterday, and like out of 10 people, maybe 3 people could deliver their pitch in 1, 2, or 3 sentences. They could tell me what they do, who they do it for, what kind of problems they solve, and what people actually consult them for. Which is funny, because like if I asked you what you do, you should be able to tell me. And I think, like, even if you have a very strong network, if people don't know you, if you're not able to tell them, hey, this is why you should get me on board, it doesn't matter how much they like you, because in the end they want to have their problem solved. And it's not simply which solves their problem. So there comes a time, speaking from experience, where it doesn't help you that... Is it me? It's me. Where it doesn't help you that you have a strong network. Because even if people like you, if they refer you to somebody, this somebody, of course, will ask, okay, like, for what kind of problem should I get this person on board? What will they do for me? Why should I actually hire them? And if they are not able to tell them, they will probably not get you on board, because they simply can't deliver what you're there for. So you have to know what you can actually do for them, and you have to be able to tell people what you're able to do for them, so that they can actually like get you to people. So next step for me was to, well, this is a no-brainer, get on social media, be active, do things, get on LinkedIn, try to be visible, be there, just to get some kind of visibility. Problem is, if you're not aware of, or if you don't have your pitch, your sales pitch, if you're not really aware of what you actually do for clients, nobody really cares, because you can't actually translate what you do to people who should maybe get you on board. And this is not because people are bad. It's not that people don't care. You don't give them a reason to care. This is not even because you don't have like the capabilities to maybe solve their problems. They simply don't understand you. So you are on social media, and it's a very like social platform, and are not able to actually create social connections, because you maybe post some stuff or maybe drop some comments. I don't know who of you is active on LinkedIn, but I see this time and time again. People post and post and post and post, and it's so much stuff they send out there, and they never get a reaction. Of course not, because you're just sending. So the final destination in the end is, I don't know, for every one of you probably a different one, but for me it was the question of like, should I get employed? And I've never been employed more than like 3 months or so in my life, and I didn't want to go there. I didn't want to work for somebody. So the question was, how do I actually avoid the final destination of employment? Well, I don't know what the final destination for you is, but let's not go there. Let's just not. The question is, how do we not go there to whatever your final destination is? And I'm a big fan of not hacking the system or not trying to create viral posts, or I don't know how you use social media, but I'm not a big fan of just being very mindless about the resources that we have. So the first question I usually ask my clients is, who do you work for? What are the problems you solve? Who are the people you work with? And what do they have? What do they get from working with you? Why should they care? And then form something like a position from that, or build a positioning of that. I just heard the question yesterday, but in my first year of a freelancer, how do I create my positioning? How do I craft my positioning, my messaging? And oftentimes that's, at least from my perspective, not necessarily possible from the beginning. Depends on where you start, but at the beginning I would recommend to just throw shit at a wall and see what sticks. But as soon as you know, okay, these are the kind of problems I can solve, these are the kind of people I like to work with, these are the things I like to do, I can do, and I'm competent in doing, I'm very certain about what I do here. There is a market, there is a need, and people actually want to solve that. Then you can form, well, let's say the playing field you're on. And it always starts with that. Whenever I talk to people who have a hard time to get clients, or a hard time to communicate what they actually do, they're not sure about their positioning. They maybe know their market, okay, that's nice, they know what they're doing, but they can't translate it to why should they care. And then it's a no-brainer as well. I feel like it's nothing new, but it's still so important. Be there, be present, and remind them. Get them to know you. And I don't mean post once on LinkedIn, or post once a week on LinkedIn, or try podcasting and then be surprised why nobody really listens to it. Give it time, give it months, give it maybe 12 months, give it 2 years. Be there and let people know who you are, what you stand for, and I don't mean a personal standpoint, I mean actually the capabilities that you have. Let them know about your work, let them know about the problems you are able to solve, because you can solve problems. I don't care about your cat, or whether you're it's a bit controversial, but I don't care about your personal life. I really don't. I don't care about your private life. I want to know, how do you solve the problems that I have if I am your target group? Let me know about that. Let me know about that continuously. So how do we do that? Strategic positioning is probably one of my favorite topics. However, I think that's a very big and complex topic. So I usually break it down in my work in asking the questions that you see. What do you do? Who do you do it for? What kind of problems do you solve? Who are the people on your playing field? Because even if you're very specialized, the probability that there are opponents is very high. So you should know who these people are. You should know what they actually offer, and you should know how they communicate. Who are they? Whom are they working with? Who are these people? And that may be a bit daunting. It's competitive analysis is always a bit takes time. Even if you're just taking 2 weeks to figure out how do they actually communicate on social media, it will open your eyes. Who is active there? What are they saying? What are they saying that you don't agree with? Very important. If you position yourself, this is not only a what do I stand for. This is actually a what do I stand for that they don't stand for. What do they say? And what is different about the things that I do and think? You want to say, hey, I'm different. Not in order to be a very special pony, but in order to, well, make it easier for people to, how do I say that? To be interested in you, actually. Because if everybody wears gray, you better don't. The thing with the being different is a very hard thing, because I see time and time again that people talk about being different in terms of being very loud or being very, very special, very, very annoying. And I think you don't even have to be very, very loud or very special. You just have to be in the way, or be, how do I say that? There's the reason why clients in the past booked you. And this is usually the reason why clients in the future will book you. There is something about you that maybe your opponents don't have, didn't know about, makes you different. Find out why people chose you. Find out why people got you on board and nobody else. And then communicate these points time and time and time again. Show me why I should get you on board and not the people who are out there talking about your topic as well. And then condense it to a story. Maybe one sentence, maybe 3 sentences, maybe a whole Dina 4 page on which you completely logically tell me like why I should be working with you. But craft a story, put it together, condense it, give me a reason to work with you, and then go out there. I know I'm talking about social media. However, I don't think that social media has to be like the means in order to market yourself like explicitly or exclusively. If you know that your target group is on certain channels, you should be visible on those channels. And when we talk about social media, find out, are they on LinkedIn? Do people you want to work with actually use LinkedIn? If they are not there, then don't use that platform. Or maybe post once a week, talk about your topic, but don't expect people to find you on LinkedIn or hire you or like try to get in contact with you via LinkedIn. If they are on Instagram, maybe be visible there. I mean, especially in B2B and especially for complex service offerings, LinkedIn is probably one of the more interesting platforms. However, I think it's a complete hype. So don't fall for this, you have to be on LinkedIn thing, or you have to be on TikTok thing, or you don't have to do anything. Find out where they are and then meet them where they are. When I say develop your communication architecture is what I mean. You have to build a bridge for people to understand what you do and why they should work with you. To repeat myself, I need to understand this, so I need to logically follow every step in your direction. Okay, I see you solve my problem. Okay, I see how you do it. I see why you do it. I see you are the right person. Nice. So maybe your offering is right for me. Great. But most of us do actually have some sort of services who are very complex. It's not that I say, okay, I do only this. I niched it down to only this thing. It would be very stupid to do that because many of us actually rely on different topics that we do in our everyday work. So find the key topics in your work that people do inquire you for and build an architecture around these topics that helps you to communicate how you actually solve these topics and problems for people. If you go there and say, okay, well, for example, go on LinkedIn, whatever, choose a platform for you, and then post content. That's nice. However, when we talk about social media, and I'm pretty sure you heard this many, many times, it's social media. People are on there to really network. It's like a forum back in these days. People are there to entertain themselves. People are there to, maybe just distract themselves. And people are there to get into contact with other people. So they actually want to be with other people, want to be talking, want to be discussing things with other people. So don't expect to put your stuff out there, and then people will magically realize, okay, great person, I will need her or him. Give them a chance to get to know you over maybe commenting other posts, starting to network, getting into contact with people. This is such a no-brainer, but I see time and time again people who are just active on social media with their content. They post like 3 to 5 times a week, and this is extremely resource heavy, but never using these platforms as means of creating connections. And this sounds so fluffy, but like I would say 90% of my network as of today got created through me reaching out to people and saying, hi, who are you? What are you doing? It's just that easy. You don't have it to do in a way like, hi, I'm Dina. Who are you? But in a way that feels authentic to you, so that you start creating connections that maybe lead to projects in a few months, a few years. This is a long-term thing. What do you need for that? When talking about social media, I see so many people and companies who dive into this topic head over heels. Very enthusiastic. We will be on XYZ platform, and we will do this format, and then we'll do video, and then we'll do a podcast, and then we do... But you don't have the resources for that. Creating content and actually networking is so resource heavy. So please make sure that you actually have what it takes to do all of this. If you have like 5 hours spare time in the week to do your marketing, don't start any initiatives that may take 10 hours or more. Maybe self-evident, but like you'll burn out over the process of doing all of this. But because like if you create a concept that takes time, if you create the content itself, it takes time. I'm pretty sure all of you who are maybe actively posting, you guys know how much time and effort and brain capacity it actually takes to write a fucking LinkedIn post. Honestly, people sit there hours just to write like 3,000 how do I say that? 3,000 characters. Thank you. It's insane. So see what's doable for you. And if you can do 1 post per week, that's absolutely fine as long as you network enough. Next thing is, I think I see people have a very interesting understanding about this, because usually people start with, okay, we need a publishing plan for social media, and this is where we start. This is what we need to do. Great. However, social media, or building a social media presence, is a project as anything else as well. So we don't go there and say, okay, these are like 5 topics that are interesting and let's go. We actually need to find out, what do we need for this? Do we want to create a video series? Are we capable of actually doing this? Is the person in front of the camera charismatic enough, or can he or she talk in front of a camera? How comfortable does he or she feel? Is the person who should actually create the content, is she or he text savvy enough? How much time do we need to actually review this? If you're the only person doing this, that's great, because you're the person reviewing your content. However, that takes time. How much time does it take until I want to start actually publishing my stuff? And is that realistic? And then set yourself a plan, a publishing plan, but also a project plan. When do I want to create this stuff? When do I want to be active? How does my week look like? How do I handle my calendar being very stuffed with my everyday work? When do I actually do this? When do I produce videos? When do I produce my podcast? It's a very boring topic. I know this. I just want to prevent what I see time and time again, and that's a content burnout. We start very enthusiastic, and then 5 months, 6 months into it, we're just like, okay, this ain't working. It's too much time, it's too much effort. And we don't see anything from that. So maybe social media ain't working for us. Oh yeah, it is working for you. If you have your channel chosen correctly, if you know the people you're talking to, the probability that it is working for you is pretty high. But the expectation is probably too high as well. I witnessed a talk yesterday about LinkedIn and how you should structure the perfect LinkedIn post, or how you actually get visible on a platform like this. And I find it very helpful to start with a structure or a framework in mind of how you should create content on social media. That's nice, that's helpful. However, I've seen horses fly. Everything can work. It doesn't matter when you post. It doesn't matter how long your posts are. It doesn't matter how you actually structure your posts. These things don't matter. What does matter is that it's interesting enough for me, that it's relevant enough for me, that I see the reason why I should actually read this. And what I love personally is some humor, as long as you have it, or the way you are putting humor into whatever you do. If you have a certain style of talking, of writing, don't be afraid to put it in there. It doesn't have to be very corporate-y, or sounding corporate-y. Be yourself, not in a way that I would get to know you before your first coffee, but be the person your clients love you for, or like you for, at least, I hope. So that I can see, okay, why will it be fun to work with you? Do you get shit done? Are you easy to communicate with, easy to work with? For me, especially, I'm not easy to work with. I'm very annoying. I'm very, very annoying. I'm a pain in the ass, and I know this. I know this about myself. My clients like that about myself. And this is something I talk about on social media, because I want people to know, hey, if you get me on board, it will not be an easy ride. So I need your dedication to this. I need you working with me. I am not an order taker. This is an important thing for my clients or prospective clients to know. So I'll bring that in and make it a bit fun. At least I think I do this. Pitch yourself whenever you can. Talk about what you do. Talk about your work. I see this so often. People are very, very afraid about, oh my God, I don't want to sell. I don't want to be salesy. I don't want to be... If you don't sell your services, nobody will, probably. It's very unfortunate, I know, but if you're not in for it, like, why should I be in for it? If you don't believe in yourself and if you don't believe that you can provide value, why should I believe that? Because I don't know you, probably. So pitch yourself, not in a way that I feel like, oh my God, no, that's the next LinkedIn message in which someone tells me why I should know. Make it in a way, or try to make me understand why working with you would be a great idea without telling me working with you would be a great idea. What I love, and don't do myself, but what I recommend to clients always is study the news, study newsletter articles, study magazines that may be relevant for you or your clients, and refer to that. Talk about that on social media, because oftentimes it's not only about talking about your work, but being an interesting person to follow, because I know I get information from you that I don't get elsewhere, because I don't read maybe what you read, or you interpret this for me, or you help me orient myself around stuff that I'm not too knowledgeable in, and you help me do this. So you help me make sense of the world. That's nice. If you can help me understand stuff I may need some help with in the future, I will probably consider you faster. And please ignore best practices. I know I talk about like what you should or should not do a lot, but like ignore best practices. I know there is so many tips and tricks and hacks and quick wins and stuff, and don't. Just don't. Thing is, we don't know shit. We know social media is a black box. And there are people who have figured the system out and can help you scale it and can help you with everything. Actually, you don't have to work a minute if you don't want to, but these people do not live your lives. These people do not have your business models. These people don't have your clients. They don't know your markets. So communication, marketing is always highly, highly individual. If we are on social media, we are always dealing with a very ever-changing, volatile environment. So what may be working today may not be working tomorrow. It's very unfortunate. Not even I know whether I will get clients 3 months from now. I don't know, and I'm getting clients inbound only because I don't do outbound over social media, and I tell my clients how to do this. However, it might be that in 3 months, I don't know. I don't know how to get some clients, and I don't know what's changing. What's the next platform after LinkedIn? What's coming after TikTok? What's if you have a newsletter, if you have a podcast, I don't know what the next platform will be and what's working for you. Absolutely not. What's not working is relying on other people to tell you what you should do. You should copy, you can copy stuff that's working and see whether that's working for you. However, make this your own. Make this your own. It may take you longer. But anyhow, if you expect social media to deliver inquiries or clients for you over a time frame of 6 months, it might not be the right channel for you anyways. So expect it to take some time, and then find a way to make it yours. One thing, and I fall for this time and time again as well, we love to talk about ourselves. We love it. That's normal. On social media and never in business, it's not about us. It's always about us, of course. We want to market ourselves. We want to sell our offers. But it's actually not about us, it's about them. Our clients or prospective clients do have problems that we can and want to solve. However, it's about their problems. We don't want to talk about our solution. We want to talk about how we can help them solve their things, their situations. So the focus is always on them, and I think that's actually the hardest thing about everything in communication, to not make yourself the center of everything. I don't know how to describe that better, but I'm a big fan of dating references, and I don't know whether any of you has ever been on a date where the other person is just talking about themselves, and it's nice. Maybe this person is very interesting. Great life. Nice. But they never ask questions. They never give you the feeling of, hey, I'm here as well. And that's bad, because like when the evening ends, you know fully well who they are. But you don't have the feeling of, okay, there has been a connection that has been formed. I feel like the motivation part is something, I don't know whether that's working for you. Motivation doesn't work for me. It's discipline. Whenever you do things, make it a routine. Make it become a part of your identity. Nobody cares whether you are motivated to get up in the morning and do stuff. There will be days, there will be months. I see this with myself, I see this with clients, where you're not creative or motivated to do anything. Yeah, that's bad. You shouldn't start doing these things anyways. Don't trust the numbers. Whatever social media tells you, and especially when you're doing organic stuff, so you don't put little paper notes in these channels, but you do market yourself in an organic way. These channels give you numbers like likes and views and who watch your profile and how many followers you have. That's nice, but they're probably not right or not accurate. You can probably not work with them. I know this is very controversial, but I usually don't check how many followers I have, because they tell you nothing. I don't check how many views we have. What can we get out of this? It's just an indicator of, do we have the right direction? Even then, not really. What you need or what you want to get is an impression of, do people actually consume what you publish? So, are there other conversations that you have that people talk about what you do on social media? Do they ask questions about the things you post? Are they inquiring about stuff that you actually talk about? These are signals that we're looking for. We don't want to fall for the trap of likes. We want to actually create some conversations about the things that we post about. And then, honestly, just try to create a flywheel. Try to experiment. Try to analyze what's working for you, because it's so individual. Try to make or try to create something, an ecosystem that works in your favor. Best way, if you can create an ecosystem that can't be copied because it's so good. Try to put your handwriting in this so that people cannot replicate what worked for you, and then try to repeat it as much as you can, as often as you can. Most importantly, if you're not having fun at all, I encourage you to not do it. I know I'm not like the most enthusiastic person, neither on stage nor in life about stuff, but if there's not something that you get out of it, a bit of like, I don't know, a bit of adrenaline when you hit the publish button, then don't. If you don't care about it, don't. Find better ways. Don't go on social media if you don't want to talk about it. If you don't want to get out there, don't. You don't have to. There are better ways. More resourceful ways, actually. If you want to, do it. It's a great way to connect with people, obviously. And since I've lost myself a bit in what I talked about, we have like a solid minute left for questions. And I'm sorry about that. I'm still learning. So I would highly encourage you to throw any kind of questions in my direction that you might have, in case there are some. From my side, this has been it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It seems like there is a lot of homework, right? I think so. So feel free to go ahead and ask these questions, but responses to questions won't just help you if you don't do the hard work, right?
Right.
All right. That 40 seconds for questions was very optimistic because now we have 0. So what I would suggest is make sure to connect with this great expert, amazing human being. I'm sure you'll be around for a little bit longer, and I assume this is your LinkedIn QR code.
Right.
Wonderful. Go ahead and scan it. Perfect. Thank you very much for this insightful speech. Thank you.
Thank you.